What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Bungou Stray Dogs, episode 11. So let's get started. So this episode was pretty interesting. When it comes to this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs, this episode was broken up into two parts, in which one part of the episode focuses on one of the Port Mafia members named Higuchi, and then the other part of this episode focuses on one of the armed detective agency members known as Kenji. So when it comes to Higuchi's side of this episode, we see that, she kind of reminds me of Kyoka a bit when it comes to her overall character. It seems like she, kind of just ended up getting involved with the Port Mafia due to being at the wrong place and at the wrong time. It doesn't seem like she wanted to be in this little organization to begin with. It doesn't seem like she went out of her way to join this group just for the sake of, joining it. She, in fact, doesn't want to be involved with the Port Mafia just because on the way things are run within the group. The only reason why she has stayed with the Port Mafia up to this given point in time is because of the fact that Ryunosuke Akutagawa is within the Port Mafia and she has feelings for him and she is willing to go out of her way to do anything she can to make sure that Ryunosuke is safe. And we see how far she is willing to go for Ryunosuke in this episode. I mean, apparently Ryunosuke ends up getting captured within this episode, and, he is in a chronic state. He can't do anything about it because, his body has been damaged so badly due to the fight with Atsushi in the previous episode. His body ends up getting captured by these goons, and they take him to their own hideout, and we have Higuchi in this episode go alone, mind you, to their hideout and starts taking these goons down one by one by one, but then she ends up getting injured within this episode, and it almost seems like she is about to die, and then that is when the Black Lizard Group makes an appearance as well. And it was kind of cool to see the return of the Black Lizard Group within this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs because, while they did end up getting wiped the floor with in the previous episodes by the armed detective agency, to see them actually pose a threat, quote unquote, to another group, was pretty cool to see. And also it seems like we got some characterization on them as well because they see Higuchi as their superior officer. However, that is all they really see her as. They are not helping her because of the fact that she is their superior officer, but because of the fact that they fear Ryunosuke Akutagawa. They fear his power. His power is immeasurable toward them, and they respect his power. And the only way that they can keep this valuable asset of the Port Mafia alive is if they end up helping out Higuchi to begin with. Because if Higuchi didn't go out of her way to actually, save Ryunosuke, the Black Lizard Group would have never ended up coming to rescue Akutagawa as well. So it was kind of see how, while they don't really necessarily respect one another, they in fact all respect Akutagawa. Now when it comes to the other part of this episode, we have yet again another one of the armed detective agency members being a focus of it. Now, when it comes to the other part of this episode, we have Kenji, one of the armed detective agency members, being focused on within the other half of this episode. And now, when it comes to Kenji ends up going on a mission with Atsushi in order to track down that a bomb has been implanted into a building, and there could be the possibility that there has been a gang involvement revolving around this case. And we get to see just basically how, charismatic Kenji is, and how he can pretty much use his charisma to pretty much solve anything. And I just thought it was kind of funny to see how Kenji, despite being the fact that he's from the countryside and doesn't know a whole lot about the urban, city around him, he is still able to become a very popular individual and still, influence a lot of people, especially Atsushi in this episode. Atsushi completely buys into everything that Kenji ends up saying, and that's what I thought was very funny about this episode. And when they ended up meeting, the guards, he's like, oh, I guess you guys weren't the ones who ended up doing this. You have no involvement whatsoever. Oh, Okay, well, I'll see you guys later. You know, he walks out, but he knew for a fact that the gang was going to follow him and Atsushi. So, you know, while, when it comes to Kenji, while you think he might be a clueless individual, he is actually very smart. He just has a different way on how exactly he ends up resolving certain situations. So yeah, when it comes to this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs, I thought it was still a relatively good episode. I mean, it wasn't as hyped up as what we got in last week's episode, but, you know, that is understandable because we need to get introduced to more events that are going to be of importance of later on throughout the series, and also we need to get more characterization with the characters before we can build up to those climactic moments in the series to begin with. So yeah, I like how the episode ended up shifting from a darker sort of tone to a lighthearted sort of tone. That was very interesting to see, and just seeing, you know, more focus of being introduced to the characters within the series when it comes to Higuchi and Kenji. I thought that was awesome to see. And also by the end of this episode, at the end of the credits, we also get to see Dazai chilling at his own apartment, reading a book without a care in the world, and, you know, he just ends up saying, you know what? Maybe I will tell the Armed Detective Agency that I escaped from the Port Mafia tomorrow. You know, I'll just do that. You know, he's just chilling at his apartment, hasn't shown up at work at all, and, you know, I thought that was just really funny. That about does it for my video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs. And, of course, if you like my video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel. And if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.